my paper, Critical Studies 2 with Module 5, Age of Anthropocene. Today we shall look at the critical essay, The Climate of History by Dibesh Chakrabarty. Dibesh Chakrabarty's engagement with the idea of the concept of the Anthropocene has become a key starting point for rethinking the humanities in the era of anthropogenic climate change. At the heart of Chakrabarty's 2009 article in Critical Inquiry, The Climate of History, which has been translated into various languages and circulated widely, is the idea that the emergence of humanity as a geological agent, that is, as a species with the capacity to transform and even to destroy its own conditions of existence, that humans do presently, this idea fundamentally undermines the constitutive distinction between human and natural histories. These two forms of historical consciousness are now collapsing into one another with important intellectual and political consequence. The Anthropocene then marks the end of the binary distinction between humanist and scientific knowledge that underpin the Enlightenment rationalist project. Chakrabarty also argues that this collapse analyzes the distinctive political project of Enlightenment, the pursuit of human freedom, enlightenment. It thus threatens to undermine its own conditions of possibility, perhaps suggesting the need to found a radically different kind of politics. Chakrabarty's first thesis is that anthropogenic climate change spells the end of the age-old humanist man-made distinction between natural history and human history. It is interesting that he explicitly connects this thesis to anthropogenic climate change rather than the Anthropocene in general, which might be argued to include other factors such as the transformation of landscape, growth of population, formation of urban centers, the extinction of species, etc. This move immediately narrows the problem of the Anthropocene from a wider historical or geological perspective to the immediate contemporary question of climate change. Moving to the thesis 1. The anthropogenic reality of climate change challenges the distinction between man and nature, the human history and the natural history. This goes further to the mid-20th century acknowledgements that human history is indeed natural history, but that of the natural history too vast and progresses too slowly to be much impact on human life, and rather demonstrates how the two histories are in fact conjoined and immediately producing each other. Thesis 2 challenges the notions of modernity and globalization as distinctions between place, time, racial, ethnic group, and even the colonizer colonized all collapse into one massive group, the Anthropocene. We need new solutions to these problems, climate problems, which require thinking at a global, a collective life in ways that both challenge nationalist and post-colonialist thinking. Thesis 3 connects global histories with species history, reframing the human animal as a species rather than as a special category of being. Thinking human as species requires a longer view than historians generally deploy. Chakrabarty asks historians to rise above their disciplinary prejudice in thinking longer, less comfortable times. Here we encounter the most explicitly political of Chakrabarty's conclusions, and the idea that such a mode of rethinking history might help us to deal with the crisis of global warming. This enables Chakrabarty to conclude with his call for a negative universal history That is, a history that by subjecting everyone equally to the risk of global climate apocalypse constitutes a universal human political subject. There may be things that emerge from considering the climate crisis that history is ill-equipped to analyze or even articulate, given that the wall between human and natural history has been breached, leveled, and old ways of historical understanding are no longer sufficient. And what we need is an emergent, new universal history of humans that flashes up in the moment of the danger, that is, climate change. Traditional approaches to history, the Vicanian understanding, which have often displayed a tendency to separate human history from natural history. But Chakravarti's approach is a self-conscious reframing of such approaches and a rejection of the old ways of doing history. Chakravarti's essay forcefully reframes the work of history in its engagement with scientific reports, new methodologies for doing history that might work towards the new kinds of historical understanding. The 2007 fourth assessment report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change of the United Nations states Chakravarti's analysis draws not only on traditional humanistic theory and history, but rather scientific analysis and reports. This is a key methodological shift for Chakravarti, as historians in the Anthropocene need to learn how to assimilate scientific knowledge into their work. Chakravarti maintains that freedom has been the most important motive of written accounts of human history of these 250 years. His line of historiographical development is through what Marxists would call the ideological superstructure. He therefore recognizes the force of the argument in favor of accepting the arrival of a new geological age during the same period of 215 years, the Anthropocene, with an aim to guide mankind towards global, sustainable environmental management. Dipesh Chakravarti concludes his essay with the observation, climate change poses for us a question of human collectivity, pointing to a figure of the universal that escapes our capacity to experience the world.